Welcome, my good friends, to another edition of Tradcat Night. Special guest, a video interview right here on the tradcatnight.org website. But folks, today it's going to be a cross-collaborative effort between myself, Eric Gajewski, founder and owner of Tradcat Night, and Zach Power from An American Homestead. Nearly 140,000 subscribers to his page at AmericanHomestead.com. Get over there and check that out for my following. And we had a phenomenal talk last month that did very well on Zachary's page. So good to see that. A lot of questions being asked. And I actually had some of your following come over to my end asking me some questions from our last talk. So that was good, too, as well. So today we're going to be breaking down things. Obviously, we are in the quote-unquote post-election pandemonium. Perhaps not pandemonium yet, but I will get Zach's opinions on how he thinks this will play out. But I've had a lot of my political analysts indicate that this could just go on for months, which may very well be the case. I'm not sure. But before we do that, folks, I just want to make mention to the listening audience here listening to this program. I have a very special web conference coming up at Tradcat Night entitled Vatican Deception, Exposing the Counterfeit Church. For those of you who are listening to this, I am one of probably the leading Catholics who have been exposing sort of this apostasy in the Catholic Church, which is sort of the going to be the one world religion side to it, of course. So there are Catholics out there who don't follow what the Vatican has been saying. We believe that there are very few real Catholics left in the world, in all honesty, unfortunately. And we believe it's a preliminary sign, too, that the Antichrist is right around the corner as well. So having said that, I've got a great web conference forthcoming with some of the great best traditional Catholic priests out there. Monsignor Perez, there's Father Voigt, internationally renowned journalist Gerard Olcoman's going to be there. He's been featured all over, mainstream media. We've got Bernard Jansen. He's a Catholic journalist. We've got Paul Stark, who's got a popular video on Vimeo called Vatican Deception. And I'm going to be there, and I'll be talking end times prophecy and all that good stuff. And I believe we dabbled into that a little bit in our first talk, because I think Zach and I more or less see eye to eye to where we're at these days. But in any case, right off the bat, Zach, we got to get your take, your breakdown in regards to the 2020 elections. So where are we at? What do you think is going to happen down the road here?
Man, I have absolutely no idea. It's a mess, and I knew it was going to be a mess. How it's going to play out, I don't know. What I think I'm seeing here is that the definite chaos that's going to happen from here on out until we get rid of mail-in voting. This cannot happen. You cannot do mail-in voting because it's so, like they were saying, it's so ripe for fraud. You have the mail-in voting. It allows anyone to just come in and dump a bunch of ballots and say, "Oh, these were mailed in," and here they are. And that's what's happened right now. They're just showing up with ballots. They stop counting, and the next morning, oh look, there's these giant boxes here with 100,000 ballots, or 80,000 ballots, or 10,000 ballots, and they can do it. They can do it for anything. So I think that's what we're seeing here. And sorry about that. I had to replug in that. That's what we're seeing here. Until they get rid of mail-in voting, there is no way that this is going to fix itself. What I would like to see is some sort of cleaning up of this voting system. And really what I'd like to see is a blockchain implementation of voting, because that allows there to be no doubt. I mean, if you have verified, there's all kinds of applications out there. There's technology. There's a company called Civic out there today that can verify. It's called KYC, Know Your Customer, where they can absolutely know who you are. And then you have a ballot. And once that ballot's submitted, it can be sure that that's your vote. And that we need something that can be trusted, because right now nobody trusts anything that's happening right now. No matter what side you're on. If Trump comes out and wins this, the Democrats are going to say he stole it. If Biden comes out and wins this,
same thing.
The Republicans are going to say they stole it. So there's no trust anymore. And that's the beauty of blockchain technology, that it's trustless. There's no need for trust. And that's the kind of system we need.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Out of chaos comes order, the Freemasonic mantra. This is what they needed. They needed the scenario which would cause the most chaos. You got both sides of the fence, so to speak, now on edge, ready to go at it with the other. And I'm right there with you. Again, this could be staged out for another few more months. There's even some suggestion maybe if it's a stalemate, then Pelosi gets in there. I don't know.
You're right. Yeah, there's all kinds of talk about that. There's all kinds of talk about the state legislatures getting involved and trying to decide this, which again, because almost all the state legislators our legislatures are controlled by the GOP, then you're going to have a accusation. They're not going to allow that because the accusation, again, they've cheated. They stole the election through the legislatures. So, and Pelosi's not going to allow the Congress to have any vote. I mean, it's a mess no matter how you look at it. Whatever happens, it's going to be an absolute mess. And the whole, like you said, order comes out of chaos. But then what kind of order are we talking about?
Right. I mean, Luciferian.
Who's in? Yeah, exactly. Luciferian. Who's in charge of that order? So we need something that's trustless. But the powers that be do not like trustless government or trustless systems because they want to be able to control it. It relinquishes their control, and that's not what the government's about. They want control.
Now, leading up to this election, we had so many great articles come out. One particular person who comes on my program quite frequently, Michael Snyder, the Economic Collapse blog, did wonderful breakdowns on how more Americans are stockpiling all across the board, food, water, but also ammo. It's hard to get ammo these days, no matter where you are, really, in America these days. And listen, it is very unstable times up ahead, and this is why I bring on good people like Zach and so many of the top preppers and survivalists from around the world to, just pick their brains, see where they're at. What have you done differently since our last talk? Anything differently? Is the store just kind of moving forward with the same processes?
I feel pretty confident, like the amount of ammo I've got. I mean, the reality is if I have to expend that much ammo, I'm in deep trouble and probably not gonna live through it. But even then, I'm out there looking, I'm like, is there any more I could get? I wish I could get more. But you can't find it. It's like there are people like I'm on my Instagram account and some other places where they'll say, hey, there's ammo at such and such place. And by the time you go on there, it's gone. And so there's just everyone is scared. I remember that movie, The Alamo, with John Wayne. Did you ever watch that movie?
I've seen it, not in recent times, but I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So in that movie, they come into San Antonio, and Davy Crockett, played by the part of John Wayne, who he says people are running around like sheep that have smelled a wolf pack, and that's what we see here. We see people running around like sheep that have smelled a wolf pack, and they're scared and they're fearful, and that causes chaos in itself. And so when it comes to food prepping items, people are buying things. They're trying to figure out what are they short in. They're trying to figure out ways to get the heck out of the cities. They're trying to figure out, okay, what ifs, how can I prepare myself for all the what ifs? And I say it all the time in my videos. I just recently said it in my last video I put up on an American homestead. And that is that, when you push homesteading to its logical conclusion, you will end up, when you push preparedness to its logical conclusion, you will end up on a homestead. Because that's where you want to be. And that's what solves a lot of those what ifs that we deal with, especially right now.
Now, let me ask you this question too. I mean, when you kind of look at Bolshevism and communism, they obviously like to go after the farmers first and those people more out in rural areas first. Now, there's a growing concern, and I'll highlight this for your listening audience, and I was glad to see other non-Catholics pointing this out. I think Breitbart News did a piece on this. Francis's latest quote-unquote encyclical, and there's many of us who don't even think he's the true pope of the Catholic Church. I think he's a Freemasonic imposter. But in this latest encyclical, which was pushing socialism, globalism, the whole we are one routine, one world religion type of nonsense. He said that private property was actually a secondary primary right, if you can wrap your brain around that. And he said that what takes precedence even over that is how we have to do everything for the common good. So I always call it the communist common good. It basically is a loophole for anyone to just come in and say, hey, Zach, guess what? We need to borrow your 100 acres. We need to, move so-and-so onto here, whatever they want to do. And they keep that as a primary rate. So as, obviously a homesteader or whatnot, what's the game plan going forward? I know we can't live in fear, but are you trying to rally other homesteaders around you to kind of form a coalition or to make sure the communication is there just in case that type of scenario plays out in this country?
Well, I really like the fact that I live in what's called the Bible Belt. I live in the heart of the Bible Belt, and I tell this story sometimes where a couple years ago, one of my youngest son was in the hospital because of a bicycle accident, and when we left the hospital, we went to Chick-fil-A outside of the hospital in Springfield, Missouri. And so we go to this Chick-fil-A, and I'm looking at this place, and there's a line around the building, at 12 noon to get into this Chick-fil-A. And on my Google map on my phone, there's 3 other Chick-fil-A's within a mile distance of this hospital. So that tells you right there. The reason people are waiting around with their line wrapped around, this is pre-pandemic, 2018, right?
Mm.
The reason people are waiting in line around the building is because they want to support a business that stands up for Christianity and for Bible beliefs. And so this is the heart of Bible country. You sit down in that Chick-fil-A and you see families, you see Bible verses on the wall of a fast food restaurant, you hear Christian music over the speakers of the dining area. And so that's Bible Belt country. You don't see that anywhere else in the country. And so I feel really good about living in the Ozarks and living in the Bible Belt of the United States, because there are so many allies here. When times get tough, there are going to be people who will still know how to be neighborly, and so that I love that about the Bible Belt. But as far as, I think Ronald Reagan tells this story about how the Soviets were talking about, to the farmers and asking them, how is the wheat crop this year? Oh, the wheat crop is fantastic, and we have all of our wheat silos are filled. And the commissar asked the farmers, well, how is the potato crop? And says the potato crop is so good it reaches to the heavens, all the way to the feet of God. And the commissar says, we don't believe in God, and there is no God. And the farmer says, well, there are no potatoes. Because it's all a dream. It's all a pipe dream. It's all smoke and mirrors. There is no, under communism, this stuff does not exist. And so the whole idea of everyone suffers equally, like communism pushes, people are going to realize and learn that, there's just not going to be any potatoes. There's not going to, so it's got to be up to you what you can do on an individual basis. The issue today, unlike it was 50 years ago, or even 100 years ago, there are no commercial, everything is commercial farms. There are no real family farms anymore, except for on the real small micro scale, like what we have. And so they're not going to come in and take over these individual they have a history of doing that. Governments around the world have a history of coming in and taking over farms, because controlling the food supply is a great way to control your population.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is already controlled by the government. All the commercial farms are under government control. They're under government contracts. They're under government mandates. They already have control of the farms. As far as the micro farms, it's going to be real hard to take those over, because there's just so many. They're too hard to manage, and it's just private landowners, basically small landowners.
Seen any drones flying above lately?
No, not out here.
No.
there's just nothing to surveil out here. But
well, that's
no.
good. Yeah, but you mentioned pandemic just a few minutes ago, Zach. We obviously, according to some, finished up with part one of this pandemic lockdown. Again, I bring on some of the top doctors on the program: Dr. Tenpenny, the Dr. Carrie Madiz, Dr. We had Del Bigtree on. I've actually got a good web conference coming up in December that's going to highlight some of these top doctors, and we're going to discuss the global medical police state, the dangers of vaccines, because I know a lot of Christians, conservatives are talking about the vaccines, the mark of the beast, as I'm sure you brought up to your. But did you happen to see this latest predictive program? And again, these evil people, they love to throw these movies and entertainment stuff right in our face to kind of basically show us what they're going to try to do. Did you see Songbird, this new movie coming in 2021? I'll send you the link to it, or look it up, or your audience, because I had it sent to me by Celeste Salome, who sent it to me the other day, and she said, take a look at this. This is what's coming down the pike, and it ties in with Catholic prophecy about a pandemic which is going to wipe out whole nations overnight. And in this video, it shows and demonstrates what life is going to look like here in America. And I'm like, yeah, that's more or less what we're kind of expecting. It's actually quite interesting. But what's your latest take in regards to getting prepared for a quote unquote second wave? We already got European countries on lockdown: UK, Ireland, France. We've got Israel even on lockdown. In certain areas here in the United States, it's starting to slowly happen. New York City areas. New York City is starting to issue more, or Chicago's issuing some curfews, newer curfews. But what have you been highlighting to your listening audience in regards to preparing for a second wave or a second lockdown?
Well, if you've watched me on social media, if you've watched me on the internet or YouTube, whatever, I think this is a bunch of garbage. I think this whole thing is a gigantic, smoke and mirror game. None of this is real. They're judging this by cases, and they're scaring everyone by cases. Oh, there's a new 1 million cases. There's a new, 80,000 cases in one day, or some kind of crazy number. Science has never measured sicknesses or illness by cases. They always measure it by death. And right now there's a night, if you're younger than 70 years old, you have a 99.98% chance of survival. It's ridiculous. And if you're over 70, chances are, listen, who's not over 40 who doesn't have some sort of issue that they're dealing with. But if you're over 70, you've got issues. And so you may be suffering from diabetes or some kind of hypertension or heart problems, or you may have cancer. But if you die from COVID, they're going to list you as a COVID death when it was really the cancer that got you sick and the COVID that finished you off. Okay, so it's pointless. The whole thing is a scam to push in, a new world order. And I really wanted Trump to win, and I don't know if he's going to or not. But like you said, whatever happens, it's a steal. But if Trump won, I knew I had some more time. It was just buying me time. I didn't think that they were going to do the forced vaccinations. I know he would have rolled out with the vaccinations and he would have given it to everyone. But now if Biden wins, they will force the vaccinations. This will be a push. And what do we do at that point? I am not taking a vaccine. I'm not taking a vaccine. Right. My kid's not taking a vaccine. They're going to have to pick my body up and put me in a mass grave before that happens.
Yeah, no, that was demonstrated in that movie Songbird. That's basically the point of it, was the forced vaccine element to it. And for those who are interested, I've got Pastor Paul Begley coming onto my program for the first time tomorrow. That'd be an interesting sort of
end he's time. Fun to watch, yeah.
Yeah, he's coming on my show for the first time tomorrow. So get on over to tradcatnight.org, sign up today, and then follow along. Going to be good stuff tomorrow. But talk to us about one of your videos here from a few weeks ago was your love and hate relationship with homesteading. Maybe you can highlight sort of the trials and tribulations, but the highs and lows in regards to homesteading.
Yeah, there's lots of fun things about homesteading. There's lots of great things to share about homesteading. We do some amazing things here, and it's people love it. They love coming up here and they love educating themselves. We're doing some lamb butchering classes this fall and winter, and those sold out within a day. And so, all of that to say, people are interested in homesteading. The problem that I have an issue with, the thing I hate about homesteading, is that there's so many things about homesteading that I can't really share with people because it's illegal, or it gets censored, or even catching rainwater, drives some of these bureaucrats over the edge into insanity. But really, it's just, how is that? Why should that be illegal if I catch rainwater? But some people really get worked up about that. In some places, it's absolutely illegal. Sometimes wood stoves are illegal. In fact, in many states today, it's illegal to put wood stoves inside of a new home build. Yeah. And so I hate the fact that I can't share some things, especially when it comes to firearms ownership and trapping and butchering animals. I can't show any of that.
Yeah, no, they want people to be dependent upon the system. Ultimately, that's why they're putting all these measures in place to make it more and more communist. So drive everyone into these smart cities that they're creating or whatnot. Now, since you mentioned censorship, we got to mention this. Another major purge just went down. X22 report. Sean over at SGT report. One of my videos that I did with him, an interview I did, came on his show, had like 600,000 or 700,000 views. It got pulled down. So he got the axe. A whole lot of other people getting the axe. And what I've been mentioning to some of my preppers that come on.
So did you say X22 got pulled down?
They got they got pulled down. I don't know if they got back up. Sometimes they'll pull them down, and then if you get enough petitions, they go
like
right
the
back
channel. Down. The channel's down.
Yeah. YouTube channel. Yeah.
Wow.
Sean over SGT report got pulled down. Praying Medic got pulled down. It was like a dozen major names that you would recognize. I was okay. I managed to get through this one, although I've been highly censored in times past. But when I bring on other preppers like the Angry Prepper Princess, Cliff, the Urban Prepper in recent times, I said, listen, you guys are next, really, because that was a more major purge. Now we obviously know as we get more neck deep into socialism and communism, they don't like preppers. Right? They don't like, even from the health side of things, they don't want anyone talking about against vaccines or whatnot. Even on the economic level, like I brought on Daniel DiMartino, who's frequently featured on Fox with Neil Cavuto there. And I said, if you come out in the not so distant future and come against socialism, you'll be taken off the air too. I mean, that's how bad it's going to start getting. They have to control the narrative. But what's sort of the game plan for you? Is it BitChute? Are you doing backup stuff, Parler, Patreon? What? I mean, are you just like...
I want to do something that's going to allow me to recoup some of the finances for my time. Right now, Patreon is the only thing that I earn money from. I earn money from YouTube as well. But I mean, if they ever take that away from me, it's going to be all Patreon. Now, there's a new one coming out called Lighthouse. and it's spelled Lighthouse with 3 I's in it. And what they're trying to do is this is some good investors, some really good in fact, all their stuff has been banned from YouTube, from Facebook, because people are sharing it on Facebook, and those posts are being pulled down by Facebook. So it's 3 I's in the word lighthouse.com. And it's supposed to combine the abilities of Facebook, YouTube, and Etsy, because those 3 platforms are very heavily censored. Twitter as well. But the Etsy platform is basically censoring anything that has to do with Bible or family or anything against, some of the, the anti-vaxxers, stuff like that has been pulled down. And so they're trying to combine those 3 things into a platform. And I've seen their software. They actually, I had a meeting with some of the developers over there, and it looks fantastic. Now, I don't know if this is going to be an answer for people. I don't know, but I do know this: nature abhors a vacuum. And there is such a need for a free, open social media site that people are so angry with Facebook. They're so angry with Twitter, and they're so angry with YouTube and Etsy too, because of the censoring they're doing there, that something will come up at some point and people will flock to it if it's good, because people love liberty. And inherently, us Americans especially, we love liberty and we love freedom. And right now, that's suffering in the world we live in. And so, whoever comes out with the platform that actually works and is good and people can easily use it and make money from it, like for creators like us, if we can that's one of their plans. They want to give creators the ability to make a living, like YouTube does for them, but have it be focused on family-oriented, friendly, censorship-free, and all of that. Bible. The people who run this are Christians. They want this. They see a need here for this for our community, and so I really think this is going to hopefully be going to be good. I'm hoping, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I haven't heard of that one. One that's been promoted to me that I've been trying to get other people a part of, especially preppers, is one called Rockfin. Where apparently people have to pay, I don't know, some nominal fee on a monthly basis, but then you get access to like everyone's content. So like you would be all these other.
There's been other ones out there like Library and some of these other ones, but the problem is social media is already ingrained in the American psyche that it has to be free.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you charge any nominal fee for people to have access to this social media, whatever is being developed, they're not going to do it. So you failed right off the bat. You need to be able to find a way to give free access, allow creators to come in and have them make money, and even maybe people who are participating to make money. And there's been some blockchain ideas out there like Steemit that was really good for a while before it went too crazy and went way left. So I think maybe something like what Lighthouse is doing, that's the one I see the most. It has to be inherently free, free to consume. So that's the challenge. And I think the smart people know that it has to be free and remain free. And right now, YouTube, in fact, they're pushing so many ads on YouTube videos now. They're trying to get everyone to go into YouTube Red to pay, and that's just.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, there's a screen that pops up initially, at least for me, that always asks, do you want to partake in YouTube Red? And it's quite annoying. So yeah, they're definitely trying to push people in that path. Now, in regards to your homestead and just homesteading in general, of course, in any area of life, we want to provide constructive criticism, self-analysis or whatnot. Your latest video that just went up an hour ago was detailing or talking about how your homestead is inefficient. Talk about some of the points perhaps in that latest video and what some homesteaders may be missing, even if they might be doing this for years. What are some of the points you made there?
So I had a comment that came in recently on a video, and it was basically how we have a still on our homestead and we use it to make fuel. We can use this fuel for our lanterns and things like that, or for different reasons. Don't use it very often, but every once in a while we will. The guy's like, you know what? If you're going to make fuel, it's like pointless to make fuel because you can it's way cheaper just to go buy a gallon of gas. And the commenter was correct 100%. It's not worth my time to use that, to make fuel for whatever reason when I can just go buy it. It saves time. When you think about all of the work that goes into harvesting the sorghum that we grow here on our homestead, harvesting that, pressing it, making it into juice, fermenting it, and then distilling it. Dude, it's like so much easier just to go buy a gallon of gas or buy some kerosene. So what's the point? The point is that I have gained knowledge and skills and confidence in making my own, so that if ever it's not available, I can then be able to do what's not available and provide for myself what I can't get anywhere else. Same with like a can of beans, same with like a potato, a tomato. Yeah, you can go in January and buy a tomato in Brazil, grown in Brazil, at your local grocer in the middle of January when tomatoes aren't growing. But you can also grow your own tomatoes and can those and then open up a jar of tomatoes in January, and you know what's in that, you know what went into that growing that vegetable, you know that you canned it yourself, there's no chemicals in there. And so you have that confidence and ability, and it just feels good to be able to have that knowledge to do those sorts of things. And we've lost that. We've really lost that today. I just really feel bad for people because some people don't care. And, it's those people who have that knowledge and have that ability who are really going to do much better in these times than the people who just don't care right now.
Now, I'm trying to recall in our first program there, if we talked about that whole philosophical dispute amongst those who are just like, if it happens, it happens. I'll just rely upon faith. I've heard that from even some Catholics. I'm like, I don't think that's smart. We've got obviously precedents laid down in Scripture. I wrote an article last month or a couple months ago in regards to Joseph with the 7-year famine he knew was coming, so he stored grain for 7 years. I think it's going to be similar with the 7-year tribulation period. I think we've got to stay ahead of the game. We're all going to be different in our own demographic areas, but more or less, the principles will be the same. So maybe what's some of your, audience kind of saying along those lines? More along the lines of like, if it kind of happens, it happens, and I'll just go with the flow, or are they like, hey?
Mostly those people aren't in my audience. They don't.
Good.
If they are, they don't stay long. So no. Those anyone can say. Lots of people say, "Oh, Zach, I just rely on God. Why do you carry a Glock? I rely on God. Why do you plant fruit trees? I'm going to rely on God for what I need." And it's people like that who confuse God with Uncle Sam, who think that they want to. They just need to rely on Uncle Sam for all of their provision and for their necessities, whereas you're just putting it on God. That's really what they're confusing. They're confusing God with Uncle Sam because they've lived in this rich American culture that has provided for them all of their lives and all of their parents' life, and maybe even all of their grandparents' life. We have been amazingly blessed. Some would say lucky. I will say blessed by living in the American culture that we live in. But that, if you look throughout history, if you're a student of history, you know that doesn't last forever. It's not going to last forever. Empires rise and fall. They go through hard times. They go through good times. And we have grown up with a long period of good times. And we have forgotten what some of the people who lived through the Depression, what they had to go through in order to survive and to get their families through those times. So my thing is, you need to learn these things. And if you're not prepared, if you think you're just, oh, God will take care of me, or if it's my time to go, it's just my time to go. Listen, when you're a 40-year-old man and you see your children who are starving asking for food and you can't give them anything, your heart's going to break and you're going to scream to why you didn't do anything more to prepare for times like this.
There's no YouTube video for that, right?
There is none. And I don't want to go through that. I want to be able to provide for my family and work hard and give them what they need.
Now, here's an interesting last area, perhaps before I let you go, in regards to pressure canners, just canning. I mean, I've got a lot of my followers say they've gone down that path. I haven't quite done that yet, but what they're telling me is it's hard to get a lot of these canning items. I'm not sure if you could speak to that. They're having an awful lot of hard time finding pressure canners, just canning. I mean, What's the deal with that? Why, or is there a shortage from your perspective? And if there is, why is there one?
I think there is a shortage. I think it's because it's the same reason you can't buy ammo today, because there are smart people out there who know that they better get some of this stuff because they need it to survive. So here's what I'll tell you, keep a lookout, try to find it when you can. Understand that if you do get lids, you can use lids multiple times. All the old timers I know use their lids 2 or 3 times because these are old timers who remember their parents who lived through the Depression, and they did not waste things. And so if it could still be used, they would use it, and they would just check their lids after they popped to make sure they held their seal. And if they didn't, then they would reuse them and then toss the lid. But you can usually get about 2 or 3 uses out of a lid, whereas the books will tell you that you need to use new lids every time. And so understand that. So conserve what you got, learn how to use what you got. Again, wisdom through experience. Yeah, I mean, just keep your eyes open. If you can find the stuff, get it. The best canners I have seen out there, the best quality canners are the All-American. There's some other good brands out there, but the All-Americans stand, head and shoulders above everyone else. And in terms of quality, they are going to cost more. But right now, if your canner requires spare parts, make sure you have a good amount of spare parts on hand. If something breaks on your canner, it doesn't render it useless. So if you can get spare parts, or if it needs spare parts, or if certain things fail, seals and such, make sure you have those stocked up too. Right now, it seems like there's still a quantity of spare parts out on the market because people haven't thought about that yet.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, it's a great point.
Maybe take care of that if you can.
Yeah, great point. Zach, thank you so much for joining the program today. Before I hand it over to you for shameless self-promotion time, just for your listening audience, again, head on over to tradcatnight.org. I bring on some of the top preppers and survivalists around the world, but I truly do cover it all. Top economists. I cover politics, geopolitics. We cover prophecy, end time, news-related stuff, 75-plus podcasts a day, 3 to 4 podcasts a day. I'm literally doing 4 interviews today, so doing an awful lot here. If you can join us, please do so. It's tradcatnight.org. I'm sure once Zach gets his video up, I'll probably pop in and just put a little piece there, and hopefully Zach can maybe pin it or whatnot. But Zach, thank you for joining.
I'll pin it to the top. Yeah, absolutely.
And then for my audience, break it down for us. What do we need to promote this month?
Yeah, well, I'll just go ahead and address my audience real quick. Listen, if you like me posting videos like this, I mean, this is Trad Cat Night's show, but I asked permission if I could post it on there to share it with my guys, and he was like, yeah, absolutely. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, head over to his stuff, subscribe to his stuff, and we'll keep doing things like this. And be sure to hit the bell button so you get notifications every time I do a video. It doesn't mean that YouTube's going to actually notify you. You never know on that, but follow me I'm also on Instagram. And on my website at AmericanHomestead.com, because if I do get yanked off of YouTube, you can always find me at my own domain, AmericanHomestead.com.
There you have it, latest from Zach Bauer. Folks, thank you all for tuning in today. Until next time, stay safe and God bless.
Hey guys, I'm happy to introduce an American Homestead sponsor, Zervita Zeal. Now, first off, I only accept sponsors from products that I use and believe in. My family uses Zeal mainly because we want to ensure a healthy immune system. You see, it's made up of only whole food concentrates and includes no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives. The included sweetener is all natural from fruit and the stevia leaf. It's gluten-free, it's vegan, and it's kosher. In 2018, my youngest son was involved in a bike accident that resulted in the surgical removal of his spleen, and that's an important part of his immune system. And because we live on a farm, you can guess that having a healthy immune system for our family is very important. Some of the included ingredients are beetroot, chicory root, turmeric, moringa, blueberries, cranberry, goji berry, milk thistle, ginseng, alfalfa, broccoli, and so much more. It's these natural ingredients that can easily be made into a powerful and tasty drink that my family can make and feel good about. So sign up and give it a try today. Every purchase you make goes to help the homestead so that we can continue to make great homesteading videos for you. Link is in the description below. Go ahead, give it a try. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.